What is poppin', everyone? My name is Ryan.
Eric.
I'm Corey.
I'm Doug.
And thank you so much, all 300 likes of you on Facebook, for watching this newest episode of Moral Dilemma. And for this episode, we have two very incredible shout-outs. Actually, three. I'll go ahead and say three. One, like I said earlier, we reached 300 likes on our Facebook page. Thanks to all of you. Thank all of you for that.
Even
big
the
moment.
fake accounts.
Yeah, even the fake accounts. There's probably about 5 fake accounts.
Yeah, I know I have 17 that I made myself.
Yeah.
Probably
Corey made 17 of them. I made 40. Eric, how many did you make? Like 60?
I'm not saying.
Okay. So thanks to all of you who are real to like it. We also reached 1,000 downloads and streams through Podbean. So thank you for that
I couldn't delete it the first time, so I kept downloading it.
Yeah, that might be a lot of our work too. And then our other big shout out is we have Doug again. So thanks so much for coming, Doug. Last episode Doug was here. He was talking all about the Star Wars figures, and he brought some of them.
We got some Star Wars
in a
figures.
very well packaged box, a New Balance box, which
So
isn't in the Star Wars universe, but that's okay.
But most of these actually are characters he created.
Yeah. So walk us through this real quick. Kind of what you told us before the podcast about each of them, and then we'll throw up some pictures for Facebook people to see.
Okay, so for being a customizer, one of the easiest things to do is just basic repaint, which is what this droid is. Which is this guy is what he looks like.
So the white one's the original.
The white one's the original.
But there's also one in the movie that looked like the blue one, and you made it happen.
Actually, I don't know that. It's not from the movie.
It's your own design.
A separate customizer had painted a lifelike, kind of one of those 3 foot tall 3PO models.
Gotcha.
And I saw it and I was like, well, I'm just going to copy that on a smaller figure. I like the design. I like the colors. So
that does look nice.
So that's one, and that's actually kind of how I got to start, just kind of repainting stuff.
Yeah.
And then the character there on the very end, the squid head with the tentacles.
Our boy.
Like the original figure, it's a nice sculpt, but it's not well articulated.
Yeah.
It has the plastic cape and everything. So one of the things that we like to do, and I say we, I mean fellow customizers, is give them articulation. So that's what the guy in front there is.
He looks good.
So he can bend his arms and his elbows and his knees and everything else.
And he has the real cape.
He has the soft goods cape and all that.
So say that again. Where'd you get the cape from? The vintage one?
Yeah, the vintage figure actually has a cloth cape.
Okay.
And it actually has a cloth skirt, but I like this. The skirt on him is actually from a Tusken Raider.
Okay.
So, and you can get like even parts off of eBay. Fellow customizers will be like, well, here's an extra cape you want. So I'm like, okay, I'll pay $2 for that. And then this guy, which is one of the skiff guards. So when they try to throw them into the big mouth in the desert.
Yeah.
And so I made this guy myself first.
Okay. Probably the one that stands up better.
Right. Probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Wow. And then last year they came out with him as an actual figure from Hasbro.
That's crazy how close they look alike.
And I actually got comments on the internet because I have a collector site I post my work on, and people are like, Hasbro should pay your royalties.
Seriously, dude.
Because I did use pretty much the exact same parts that I did. So
I wonder if Hasbro saw your stuff.
It's possible.
I bet they did.
I don't know.
I bet they did. I mean, that's super close to looking like yours. Like, it's crazy.
But and then like some of the other characters, background characters, are just sculpted completely out of clay, which is what this little guy is.
What's that little guy's name?
It's actually Atark. Now, one of the things I can't... Someone who supposedly had behind-the-scenes knowledge said that he was actually in the movie. His nose is the tentacle that reaches out and grabs 3PO in the dungeon. Yes, and I think it's right. I do think it's accurate from what I can tell.
So he's got kind of a big role.
And then the big, tall, giraffe-looking thing in the background is also technically it is in Jabba's palace. Now he's in 2 brief scenes for like 2.5 seconds.
But that's enough for you to make an entire sculpture of it.
For people like me, they always do these lists on the collector sites. What figures do you want? What characters do you want to make? And anyone who likes aliens, it's like he's like at the top of the list now. Because they made just about everything else. They just haven't made him yet.
Those are crazy.
So these are made out of what's called neodite clay, which is just generically called green stuff.
Okay.
Because it comes in two parts, yellow and blue, and you mix it together.
And it makes green.
Make green.
Wow.
Which means it's then activated, and after a couple hours, it'll harden. And it's a nice, sturdy. It's slightly flexible.
It feels like those ones, but
Yeah.
I don't have the artist's touch.
So do you use your hands primarily to make that, and then you
He uses his feet.
a tool?
I have several different tools. Actually, I have some sculpting tools, and also like dentist picks.
Wow.
That make really good sculpting tools. And
Because this giraffe-looking guy, like all those like details, like his texture and stuff. So all of that you made with like a little tool.
right.
That's
And
crazy.
I should say too, these are actually, especially the two clays. That's my third iteration of those
Wow.
characters. Because I started several years ago and started out with one type of material and
Then you
did another
slowly
type, and then as I
upgraded.
kind of refer to doing this type of thing is kind of like a role playing game where you level up.
Yeah, that's a good
I'm
analogy.
level 30. I can now use a Dremel. All right.
A lot better than Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, people who make the tabletop games and stuff use the same stuff that I do for their figures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They create their own
Yeah.
figures? Okay.
See, I think your next step is to make your own tabletop game. You can make your own figures for it.
That would be cool.
That'd be sweet.
I don't know that I have time.
And we could play it on the
Hours in a day.
yeah. No, those are awesome.
Did you describe these two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Those are Squid Head.
Squid Head.
He's cool. I like Squid
Tessic
Head.
is his actual I don't say in movie, in universe name.
I will call him Squid Head.
It's easier to Squid Head. You
Yeah.
know, some of these others,
Yeah.
they get these off the wall names. It's like,
Well, thanks so much for bringing those in. Those are
Sure.
those
Yeah,
are
those
awesome.
cool. Well, I liked your
I've
idea
seen
of taking
pictures on
pictures.
Facebook, so I feel honored that you brought them for us to look at.
sure.
Yeah.
Especially this guy. That one's cool. But yeah, also the next big topic we have, we were going to talk about this last episode, but we talked about Star Wars for a long time. But Doug also has a side hustle, or maybe it's his main hustle. Depends on how you say it. But he's got
It depends on what between Star Wars figures and
he's got a few side hustles. He's a man of many different talents, and one is balloon art. So talk to us about that.
Okay. So I got into this several years ago now, I guess it was, right before I moved to Cumberland. And it actually kind of started when I was a youth pastor, because all youth pastors use balloons for a lot of stuff.
True.
And when I was a youth pastor, we not only did we do games and stuff, but we did dinners, we did parades and stuff. So I started learning how to do like decorations for floats and things. And as I kind of kept watching like YouTube and stuff like that, I was like, well, there's a whole market for this kind of thing. So and I've always like playing with balloons. I like torturing people, stuff like that, you know, and everything. Some people are like, I like balloons. So, but it's really fun. And so I've learned to do columns and archways. I've done actual
like
sculptures
right?
and things. I can do some of the twisting, you know, like party balloons and stuff like that. I can do that a little bit. That's not my main area. But I can do a little bit of that. So,
What's the most requested thing that you make so far? Like, is it the arches or?
yeah, right now it's mostly arches or columns. Yeah, that's what people are most familiar with. And I can show them pictures of some stuff, and see, you know, some I can do some other things as well, but it can get really elaborate. And I'm actually planning on going here. I think it's 2022 now. They're supposed to do it next year, which is the World Balloon Convention.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's going to be in Florida.
Yeah.
But because of
hot
COVID,
air.
yeah, exactly. And so the hotel registration was supposed to open in March, and the registration was supposed to open this month for that. But because of COVID, everything got pushed back.
Gotcha.
So it's now in
Good old
2022. And so not only will I get to learn a lot of stuff, I can take a test to become like a certified balloon artist, what they call CBA.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is a certified
The
balloon
balloon
artist.
master.
Yeah. Which just kind of gives you a little more clout when you're advertising.
You
You know,
got
I'm
clout, dude.
certified.
I don't know. It sounds a little inflated to me.
Oh, no.
Eric's not going to
We're
stop
on a
laughing.
topic that has
don't
way
wanna-
too many
We
pun
don't want to get too
opportunities.
big-headed here.
Gosh.
But,
Yeah, this is about to blow up. But yeah, so
So have you had any crazy moments with balloons? I'm
Yeah.
sure you
Yeah,
have. That's what I want to hear more
well,
of.
let's hear some crazy balloon stories.
Yeah, at first, just a couple funny comments I always get whenever I make like an arch. Now, an arch takes about 120 balloons to make.
Okay.
And people say, "Did you blow all those up by your mouth?" Do you see me in the hospital? Do you see me clutching the light?
Yeah.
No, I've got a pump.
Did you blow all those
so
up
the answer is
with
no.
your mouth?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, don't
I'm pretty sure to pass the balloon master test, you have to blow them all up my mouth. So you better surprise.
Well, I really do
that is the final.
the entertainers that can take the long twisty balloons, what we call 260s, and just. Because I can't do that.
Is that hard to do?
It is hard to do.
Wow.
And it takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of muscle in your diaphragm and everything. And I just can't. I have to use a pump, which is slower.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always
got to stay safe.
No,
it's a dangerous hustle.
Sell special tools that you can blow them more than one at a time.
Yes.
Or how's
yeah. So
good question, Eric.
Thank you.
I would have never asked that.
Yeah. So and like I'm like sometimes I'll go somewhere like I think it's Home Depot has a lot of displays they put up, and I'm like, oh, that's awful. Can't they learn to do that? They'll take a balloon, they'll tie it on individually, and another one, and I'm like, no, that's so much easier ways to do that.
Just to pop it.
I'll show you. Hire me next time.
See, I feel like that might be my favorite thing. If I were doing this, is popping all of them.
That is actually the funnest part.
That's gotta be fun.
But that's where some of the humor comes in, because you do have to be careful of your venue.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like you have a story about this.
Because like if you do it in a restaurant. Which I've had the foresight not to get into this kind of trouble, but like one time I did it in a restaurant up in Williamstown. I forget there's a real nice restaurant up there, and it's for my sister's friend's birthday party. Yeah, and so you don't want to just start popping them in a crowded restaurant, especially in today's world, because people are gonna be like, So shooter. The longer ways you have to take them off, and you just cut the tops off.
Yeah, okay.
The nuts off, and they deflate.
Okay.
But so I shared with some of you guys last week before I left that the very first real sculpture I did was for a friend of mine who had a baby shower at Fairlawn Baptist, and I'd made a giant anchor, like a ship's anchor, out of balloons, and
that's cool.
And so I'll make it and I'll leave and I'll say, if you want me to take it down, I'll come back some other day and do it. So this time I was going to come back the next day, and they're like, well, there's a school that meets here. Just buzz on the bell, and let me, we'll let you in. You can come in and take it down. I was like, okay. So I arrive at the school, and they take me back to the gym, and there's this kindergarten class in there.
Oh man,
no.
Like having the gym time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I walk up to it, and as soon as I walk up to it, they all just like drop everything they're doing, and they all just run up to the stage. And they're standing there, and they're like, what are you doing? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to take it back? Are you taking it home? Are you going to make another one? What are you going to do? And I'm like, I can't just start like popping everything. So I just take it, I just shove it in my car and drive home. I'm like, I can't do this in front of these little kids. But no, one time I did one, and this is when I was first starting. So I was cheap. I was dirt cheap. I'm like, I'm just starting. I'm not charging a lot. And so a friend of mine from college, she's like, she asked me how much I charge. And I told her, and she's like, okay, we want 12 columns and an arch.
Oh, dang.
And I'm like, oh my goodness. Because it does take a while. That takes me about 20 minutes to do one column.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm thinking, what is this? Is this like a prom? She's like, well, it's a St. Patrick's Day dance for second and third graders. I'm like,
a St. Patrick's Day dance?
Okay.
So random.
12 columns and an arch for a second grade St. Patrick's Day.
Remember, honey, that day when we were holding hands in second grade and we were at the
St. Patrick's Day dance?
Thankfully, that column was there that we could lean on.
I called you my pot of gold.
And of course, the arch, they want a rainbow because it's St. Patrick's Day. And so... So I got there early in the morning, right before school started. Yeah. And it was after school. It was like right after school. And it took me all day to do it. But it's funny because I used over 500 balloons. That's how much it took.
Wow.
And afterwards, they're taking everything down. They're like, well, what do we do with all these balloons? I'm like, well, let's give them to the kids. My friend's like, no, I probably won't do that. So all the teachers come out, they're like, yeah, let's give them to the kids. So that's what I did. But the funny thing is they were like, all right, anybody wants a balloon, come to see the balloon man. And I'm like trying to take it. And they were like trying to tear my arms off.
Oh, my God.
Because they're like tied. I got them wrapped on these collars. And I'm like, and they're like... and I'm like,
they didn't give you time to get them off. They just expected you just to hand them one at a time.
I really thought I was going to lose an arm or a leg.
I would have pulled out a needle and be like, back off. They're all getting popped.
But just briefly, when you do this, like you asked about the tools to use, they have pumps, and I've got the cheap pump right now. It's just a simple thing I got off eBay, and it does have two nozzles you blow up to at the same time.
Okay.
And you have to size them generally. So I've got cutouts through foam board that you size them. Huh. You tie those two balloons together, and then you make another pair, and you tie those together. You wrap those together, and that makes what we call a quad. And that's your basic building block for most things.
Wow.
And then you just have a pole on a stand and you wrap them around the pole.
I don't know about you guys, but it took me probably until I was the age of 18 to be able to properly tie a balloon first dry.
Oh, really?
Oh,
It was a struggle for me, and I bet you're a master.
I should have brought some balloons. I could have shown you how to just tie it just like that. There's a method. Yeah, you just.
There's a method.
Next
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Next
time I can
podcast.
show you.
Next podcast
But,
is going to be no audio, just him tying a bunch of balloons. And
I've
teaching
already
us.
taken one class.
Okay.
About it was 3 years ago now. I think I went to Tennessee and took a week of
that's
training.
cool.
That's so cool.
And learn how to not just decorations, but do balloon drops.
Okay.
I do balloon drops. I can do balloon releases. Although most places that's illegal now. They won't let you do.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Why?
environmental
yeah.
stuff.
But I thought you said balloons weren't made out of latex, right?
They're latex,
Oh,
which is
they're latex,
biodegradable. But
biodegradable,
it's a big issue.
Yeah,
It's-
I bet.
And really the problem is like I know how to do it right.
Were
'cause
they
I took
worried about a
class.
bird swallowing it?
Well, they are. But what it is a lot of people, they'll take their balloons at their birthday party. They're already starting to deflate.
Yeah.
And they're not the right, they've got ribbon on them, which doesn't biodegrade.
Exactly, yeah.
And they just go out and they let it loose, and it just kind of floats around, and
Yeah.
and that's not, if you
Kills
do
a sea turtle
if you do
somewhere.
a balloon drop right, you don't have that issue.
Yeah.
But it is an issue in some places. So for me, and plus the other angle is helium is very expensive right now. Most people, I don't think most people
Really?
know there is a helium shortage. There is. There is a helium shortage.
why are we not hearing about this?
Come on, Trump.
Yeah.
There's a helium shortage.
Well, because helium is the party industry. The helium is the bottom rung, right? So helium is generally used for like industry and
Yeah.
medicine stuff like that, and so we get the leftovers.
Oh.
But there's a shortage right now because it is a safe gas. It's inert. It doesn't bond with anything. It doesn't react with anything. It's not flammable. It's not like hydrogen.
Yeah.
But because of that, there's no way to really make it.
Yeah.
You have to find it, and it's found with gas reserves and things like that.
Huh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the ground. So
Interesting.
it's one of the most abundant elements in the universe, but you can't
Yeah, it's hard
refine
to-
it.
yeah.
And so that's why. But they'll find more pockets of it
Yeah.
eventually, and the price will go down. But it is rather expensive, and so a lot of balloon decorators are trying to find alternatives for people because we got past that
Yeah.
cost on to to other people.
Yeah.
But
Dang.
now, one other thing I'll tell you too.
They should
There's
make
one
it out of
story.
Steve.
Eric, you're about to get your mic turned off.
Before I even did all of this balloon decorations, when I was doing church camp one year out at Camp Cowan, familiar with Camp Cowan, we used to do our senior high camp was usually around 4th of July week. And so for 4th of July, we used to do a carnival type thing. And each
Okay.
counselor would bring their own game to make or to do with the kids. And so I got the idea from the old video game Dig Dug. Remember Dig Dug, where he goes around and he pumps up the,
Yeah.
So I had 3 different of the big pumps with a balloon on each end that people could race to blow up their balloons and see who
wow.
could pop it the first. Well,
That's cool.
I really didn't know anything about the physics of balloons or anything.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, they'll pop a couple pieces, pick it up, throw it away.
Oh, no.
So what I discovered was, and I'm glad I had to force it. I still do this to this day when I have to clean up. I put a tarp down.
Yeah.
'Cause it makes it easier than trying to find all the pieces. When you inflate a balloon to its maximum
Yeah.
capacity, it doesn't just pop. It shatters.
Oh, dang.
Like throwing a light bulb off a roof. It's just like
it goes everywhere.
and it's like itty bitty little pieces of
Oh,
confetti.
man.
And I'm like, oh my goodness!
You saw him first kid do it, and you're like, oh, man.
I was like,
This is going to suck.
so I'm so glad. Of course, it's biodegradable.
Yeah.
And there's a little piece. See, that's actually if you do a balloon release right, that's what happens.
Yeah.
They go up in the atmosphere, they explode like that, and then you got these, which are nothing.
Yeah.
But I've got to clean all this up. I'm glad I got the tarp down.
Wow.
But it is fun, and it's amazing how much of a child people really are.
Yeah.
Because when I do like games and stuff at camp, remember one time I had, someone saw I had a bag of balloons, like, and this is high school camp,
Yeah.
right? And they're like, "Can I have a balloon?" I'm like, "Sure." So like all my guys in the cabin are playing with balloons, and another guy walks, he's like, "I can't believe you guys are playing with balloons. You guys are such babies." And I'm
Kids.
like, "Do you want a balloon?" He's like, "Well, yeah."
I have to hide balloons here.
Yeah.
From the kids. I have to
Dude,
hide
I
them.
think balloons bring out the most primal things in people. Because, people just destroy a balloon or freak out over getting a balloon.
There's a
balloon-
phobia. There are people who are afraid.
Like,
of
I
it.
will never pass up the opportunity to get a free balloon.
Balloons and bubble wrap.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
true.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It brings out a different side.
It brings
of people.
out the bad side of people.
Yep.
It brings out the sin nature of people. But yeah, I think that we each have a balloon story because we wanted to contribute to this. Do you have a balloon story, Eric?
Well, I mean, just like sorry,
Jeff.
Doug
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Jug mentioned that.
Jug. You just said Jug.
I don't know a Jug. I do know Jeff and Joe. That's okay.
Somebody else go on. Anyhow, the fact of being a youth pastor and stuff, we did all kinds of balloon stuff.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that you try to do is fill up all these water balloons.
Oh, yeah.
And you try to put them somewhere, put in containers or something. And I'd be so irritated when like all of them would just go pop, 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 pop,
Yeah.
pop. And like all of them would be gone. All the work you just did would just be done.
Yeah.
So I got real irritated with that. Then there was times where we'd do the game where you tie a balloon to your leg.
That was always a
yeah.
classic.
Pop it.
Yep.
And then there were several injuries. Sometimes people would get their foot stomped instead of the balloon.
Yeah.
That was not always appreciated, I guess. And we'd always put the balloon in the chair. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So you'd have to go run down, relay race.
And sit on it.
Sit on it,
Yeah.
pop it, Always fun.
That's a classic.
It was always fun to not inflate them too much, make it a little harder for people.
Yeah.
So they have to kind of wiggle the chair around a little bit to get the right angle.
The shaving cream one.
Yeah, the shaving cream one. Yeah.
Shaving the balloon.
Yep. So that's good.
Yeah. Well, I have a story. I used to work at Dollar General, and we had a balloon pump for people who, I don't know why someone would go to Dollar General for a balloon, but people did. And
Was this helium?
yeah, it was helium. So we had this like net in the air, the like party aisle where we like
You're the reason why
let
we
the
have
balloons,
a shortage.
yeah, probably, where we would let the balloons like fly up and they'd like stay in the net. And one day I was running cashier like I always did, and I saw this kid grab a balloon, carry it around the store, and then just let go of it, and it flew to the ceiling. And this Dollar General had a pretty high ceiling, so I went back into the like landscaping thing and found one of those big like rods that you can use to like clip off like big branches or whatever, and I unscrewed the branch and put some tape on it. And so I grabbed the balloon with the tape, put it back in the like net thing, and while I was taking this big pole, I like grabbed the edge of the net on accident and just ripped the whole thing, and balloons went everywhere. And it ticked me off so bad, and I spent the rest of the day just running cash register and getting balloons all day, and it made me so mad. Like there were probably 40 balloons just floating around, and
there's metal
kids
balloons.
would walk in and be like, "Oh wow,
What's in those balloons that make it?
It's a type of foil,
Okay.
which is now those kind of balloons you aren't supposed to release outside. 'Cause
Yeah.
they do conduct electricity.
Yeah.
And they can land in power grids and they cause
yeah.
a short and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so those ones, and that's another reason why people don't know, and that's why it's kind of like, well, we're just going to ban all balloon releases.
Yeah.
Because people don't know how to deal with
Yeah.
the foil. Now, foil balloons you can usually recycle too, or you
Oh,
can
really?
reuse.
Oh,
You can
okay.
deflate them and reinflate them.
I still have a Stiller balloon in my office that I've never
Let's
got
pump
rid of.
that baby up.
Let's
Well,
pump that baby up."
It is pumped. It's just not helium anymore. It's air.
Oh,
But they last a lot longer than
Yeah.
latex.
Corey, you have a balloon story?
So I don't.
Dude, this is the biggest challenge that's happening on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's finding a balloon story.
Yeah, I don't have any like direct balloon stories. I don't think so. I'm gonna tell a story that's like similar to a balloon. It's the best thing I can think of. So Ryan's freshman year at Cedarville, when I was a junior, whenever they do like the getting started weekend stuff, they always do all kinds of like super random like games and everything's outside and everybody's outside. We were doing all kinds of stupid stuff, and they had those, those big like inflatable balls you can get inside of that they have. That's Zorbs. Those
Zorbs.
Zorbs, those things. So
I remember this.
Yeah, so we decided we were going to race, and we get in these balloon things, Zorbs, whatever they are, and the inside tears, and my foot goes down in, and I get stuck.
Oh,
So then I'm like rolling around and I'm stuck inside this balloon and everyone's watching and I look like a total idiot.
Yeah.
And Ryan's standing there laughing so hard. Our friends were there.
He almost
They had
died.
to cut me out.
Yeah.
And then it just ruined the thing.
Ruin this
And
$4,000 sword.
Yeah. And everyone's just standing there watching like, what the heck is going on?
gee whiz.
Yeah. And actually, I just entirely made up that whole
Yeah,
story
he
because I didn't have the
story.
story. Ryan told me to make one up, so
Yeah,
that's what I did.
Well, there you
Just
go.
make something up.
Yeah.
It was
But
believable. I believed it.
We had balloons for our birthdays and stuff, and like most of my balloon things I can think of are like camp,
Yeah.
like stomping on and stuff. But I don't think I had any like drastic balloon stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever use balloons to like fling at people? Like
Fling
they kind of pull. Yeah, you pull it back.
Like
and
water
it's
balloons?
like a rubber band.
Like you make a slingshot out of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't done that. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. You looked offended when I said I didn't know.
How dare you not know what I'm
How
talking about?
dare you? How dare you not know how to make a balloon slingshot, you idiot. I'm sorry, Eric.
You really let me down. Oh,
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Doug, for sharing that. I learned a lot about balloons today, and I hope that all of our viewers did too.
There's
and
probably
listeners.
a lot more information we can learn. but-
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Doug should make his own podcast
I think he
on
should
just balloons.
I think you should make like a big instructional video on balloons, and then we should share it on our
True.
thing so people can learn.
I do
more about
think we
balloons.
should show the video of him getting a balloon. How you get a balloon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
was
a
cool.
good tactic. See, that's the kind of video I saw it on your Facebook. That's the kind of video that would have gone viral in the dawn of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how those stupid like videos, the randomest stuff would
Yeah,
go
it's
viral.
just like
That's the
people
kind of
don't
stuff that gets
expect it
traction.
to, but-
His video's not stupid.
I didn't say it was stupid. I said that the nature of
You're
YouTube was
you're
stupid and it was
comparing.
making everything viral, Adam. We give Adam a mic for the podcast and he
Adam?
roasts the
Adam?
crap out of me. I knew it was going to happen.
You said full send it.
I'm just going to mute him in post. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Adam does have a mic now, so
You mean Fathom?
Yeah. Fathom.
that's what I said.
You're really confused right now.
Sorry.
You have a headache. You did
I do have a
mention that.
headache. I said I was afraid I might have some kind of medical emergency
so-
during this podcast because I have a weird headache.
Good thing
Anyway,
Corey's here.
speaking of medical emergencies, the next topic is about sci-fi stuff. I don't know what that ties to. We're going to talk about our favorite sci-fi franchise
Universes.
and universes, franchises. There's a lot of them. And we told Doug he can't say Star Wars because
Well,
I
I think
feel
we've
like...
all said.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
we've-
none of us can say Star Wars. We've exhausted Star Wars on this podcast. I don't
know if you can exhaust
We'll
Star
probably have a
Wars,
topic
but,
about
like,
Star Wars next episode, honestly. But yeah, favorite Star Wars franchises. I can go first.
Sure.
Okay.
So mine is, I immediately thought of like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, things like that. But I wanted to talk about something that we haven't talked about yet, you know. And I love the Blade Runner movies. There's two of them now. There's the original with Harrison Ford. The new one has Harrison Ford too, and also Ryan Gosling. But I love the universe of that. So pretty much what it is it's this like futuristic universe where there's these replicants that look exactly like humans, and kind of the movies are a really cool aspect of the movies is not knowing who's a replicant. Like there are theories that Harrison Ford in the movies is a replicant himself, and it's really cool. So I just love that universe. And there's a brand new movie that came out called Blade Runner. Adam, I'm gonna look that up. 2049, I think. But it's really cool, and they really expanded on the universe there. A lot of cool like big set pieces. So yeah, I just think it's really cool. And 2049, that's coming up.
Yeah.
That's coming up. I'm gonna be live for that. We'll see if that vision holds
Guarantee
true.
that?
I don't know. After that presidential debate, I think the next 4 years are gonna be really hard for the whole world to get through.
This says it's already out, 2017.
Well, yeah, I'm
he's
saying
the
it came
actual
out,
year.
but
The
I
year
liked
of the
it.
movie.
Oh.
But 2049 that's the name of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2049. Wow. So yeah,
Well, but
Blade Runner's cool.
maybe this is wrong. It says it is released in 2017.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
It's came out. It's came out,
Okay.
and I've seen it.
But he's saying that in 2049 he should be alive.
Yeah, to see if that holds true. Yeah, that's a good one.
I doubt
I like
if it'll
it.
hold true.
I doubt it.
Back to the Future. Just
Back to the
totally
Future
ruined
didn't
it. Wait a second. Where's my hoverboard? I don't have one.
They did do the self-lacing shoes though.
True.
Well, they did do the full jacket readjustment sizing thing. Where
Yeah, but I feel like we have the technology to make that happen, but it's just not. It's not
It's not
practical.
it's not practical because
Yeah.
it's not
Even-
real. It's
even
not
the-
something everybody has.
Even the shoe thing, like they did it to make it work and like be cool, but it's not practical.
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Like
It was one of those things they just did it to prove it that we can do it if we want, but
Yeah.
it's not. Everybody's
And-
not going to have it.
and those like Nike mags sell online for like a absurd amount of money.
Well, they only
Yeah.
made like a couple
The only
hundred.
thing
Yeah.
they did really right was the almanac.
Good, Eric. Good. God bless your heart. All right, who's next? Blade Runner's mine. Shout out to Blade Runner. Watch the movie.
You
You
just
haven't seen
have
it.
one? I'm kind of disappointed.
I can say another one.
Well, we'll see. Everybody make their rounds.
So that's a no. All right, go for it. Doug, Leo. Let's hear from Doug.
Okay.
Because I think I know what
I'm excited to hear what he's going to say other than Star Wars.
I know what he's going to say.
You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah. I can't imagine you not saying it.
I would say Marvel movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
You're not going to say... Oh, you're not
You
going
thought I
to
was
say...
going to say Star Trek.
Yes,
didn't you?
I
Yeah.
did.
No.
No.
I do like Star Trek,
Wow.
but no. And actually, and the truth be told, these last several years, I've been more pumped for MCU than I have Star Wars.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because you used to be like a big Star Trek.
And I did.
Like,
I like the newer
Trekkie.
movies they made, too.
Yeah.
I did like the newer movies. Of course, that's kind of been on hiatus now,
Yeah.
at least the movies. And
but you were even the TV show that...
the TV shows, yeah.
Yeah.
I was definitely into those... Deep Space Nine was my favorite, but
Yeah.
I like Next Generation, Voyager, and all those. But
Yeah.
no, the MCU, because I'm also a big comic book guy.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, early 2000s, I was a old comic book collector. But it was funny because people were like, are you excited for, I forget what it was. I guess it was Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm more interested
Yeah.
in the next
Yeah.
Marvel. Or no, it was the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh,
It was the
okay.
last one, I guess,
Yeah.
because it came out about the same time as the
Infinity War?
Infinity War.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't care about Rise of Skywalker. I want to see Infinity War.
Wow.
So yeah, I love it. I've really liked pretty much all the movies.
Yeah,
and,
no,
and
that's
I've watched
really
some of
cool.
the other podcasts here, so I know you guys talked about some. but-
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, so it's just because I was a comic book collector, and to see a lot of these characters now on screen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and see it, and I really do think they have done a very good job of casting actors for the majority of the roles.
Yeah, for sure.
And just to see the interaction of some of these different personalities,
Yeah,
and it's
for
just
real.
like the Infinity War. I was just so ready to see Iron Man interact with some of these other characters
Yeah,
he had interacted
absolutely.
with before, because he's the one that that conflict and and especially like between him and Doctor Strange.
Exactly,
was
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was awesome.
I wish they would have had a little more between him and Star Lord, though. I think
Yeah,
that would have
for
been
sure.
better. But
Star-Lord.
yeah, so.
No, that's a
And
good
of course,
one.
it's ongoing too.
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
they've got plans for the next 20 years or so. It's
if,
like
if we make it that far.
Crazy that the COVID-19 has kind of pushed everything back.
Yeah.
WandaVision is coming out.
Right.
Have we
Yeah.
talked much about that?
I don't think so.
and they
I've
released a
seen it.
trailer, another trailer,
Yeah.
a full trailer for that.
I haven't even
So that's
seen
coming
any
out
of it.
next month?
It's I
Or
think
is it the end
or
of this
first of
month?
November. I think.
Wait,
I
yeah.
think it's first.
Which person is that?
That's Wanda.
Yeah,
Witch.
WandaVision.
And
Scarlet
Vision,
Witch and
right?
Vision. Yeah.
And it's kind of weird. I'm not going to give it away, but it's a lot
Isn't it
of...
supposed to be like a sitcom or something like that?
Yeah, it's supposed to
That's
be like...
gonna be
It's going to
cool.
be different because it's really playing inside her head, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool.
Because she creates all these different things and
Yeah.
illusions. and
They're
stuff.
going to explore more of her powers from the comic
That's
book.
cool.
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to see if they ever do something with Adam Warlock. That's what I'm.
There-
He's
that's
actually
what
my
Yeah.
favorite Marvel character.
Oh,
That's-
Really?
Yeah. So I've been like anxious because he was supposed to come.
Yeah,
and I
he was
assume
in-
he's supposed to be in the next Guardians of
Yeah.
the Galaxy movie. But with the whole controversy that came up and everything, that got pushed back. And there was a lot of people that were kind of aggravated because he wasn't in the Infinity
Yeah.
War or Endgame.
Because wasn't it the post-credit scene of one of the Guardians of the Galaxy where he
Yes.
was at the end? Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't show him. There's part of his storyline. He
He was in like a
puts him
sarcophagus
in a
or
cocoon.
something. A cocoon.
Whenever
yeah.
he needs to regenerate or heal or
That's
whatever.
cool.
And that's what you saw. So, and she goes, "I'll call him Adam."
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, it's
That-
kind of obvious who he's going to be.
Yeah.
But so yeah, and he was a major player in the original comic book storyline of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
So, but I can understand why they didn't want to just kind of pop him in there and be
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
"Hey, here's this dude."
And when's the Celestial movie coming out or whatever it is?
Supposed to be. It was originally supposed to be like this Christmas.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think it may get pushed
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
now.
much
So-
about
I
that.
do think... Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if he would make an appearance in that even potentially, but I wasn't sure.
Have you guys seen the? I think it's an X-Men movie. The New Mutants. Has anyone seen that?
No,
It's
I
out.
It's out. I heard it was horrible.
So did I. I still kind of want to see it though. That trailer was so cool though for it. It was
It
like
was
it
cool.
was like it
Who
almost
made
looked like a
that? Was
horror
that
movie.
MCU
That
or
was that was the last
Fox?
Fox property, and it was in limbo, like
Yeah, I
production
remember.
limbo for 3 years.
Wow.
It didn't turn out very
Yeah,
good.
and
Dang.
they made all kinds of changes, and so I decided rather than spend money,
Yeah.
to go see it, I'll wait.
Yeah. Good
Well-
call.
5.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, mine is
not very good.
Star Trek.
Okay.
I would say was one of them. And then I'll mention another one later, but Star Trek was always a big thing growing up watching the TV shows, and then I liked the original cast as movies that they came out with. Actually, I like the first movie. Most people kind of give the first movie a hard time, but I thought the whole premise of it was basically mankind searching for, meaning and purpose, and it kind of, I don't know, I like the whole meaning behind the movie too. It was a little bit slower, but it was still good to me. Then you had, I tried to get these guys to watch. They could care less about it. So
I liked it.
They didn't watch it at all. But the Wrath of
I
God,
liked it.
There was
that was the Star Trek 2, where it was really cool. I'm just giving you guys a hard time.
Well, there was a ton of
Hurt my
distraction when we tried to watch that, and I couldn't. I had a homework assignment due, so I couldn't focus on the thing. I was actually just kind of there doing something different.
See, that's how I felt during Hereditary. Area.
My eye just itches.
Are you crying?
There's kind of
Eric's crying. Oh man, we've done it.
There's kind of a rule of thumb among Star Trek fans for the original movies.
Yeah.
The even movies are the good ones.
Oh really?
The odd movies are the
Because Wrath of Khan's the second one, right?
Now, see, I like Star Trek Generation. Now, I didn't get into Deep Space Nine too far or anything like that. And I wanted to try to check out the Enterprise TV show. I watched a part of one episode recently, but I just always liked that. To me, as a kid watching it growing up, that there was a lot of things that based off that movie inspired a lot of real things, like the cell phones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was
That's
inspired
crazy.
by the communicators and everything. So I just liked the whole premise of the show, that it was loosely based on real science to make things kind of work in that universe. Another movie I'm excited about coming out is Dune.
Yeah.
Which
I'm excited for that.
I loved the first movie. Most people didn't really like it that much, I guess, but I don't know how it did on reviews, but I really enjoyed it because I just love that whole premise of being on being on a planet, and then it was just desolate.
Yeah.
And just having this mystery of the planet and everything. So I was excited about that. And then the last one I would say, and I know this goes back to comic books, right? But this got like little play on it, but it's a great movie, and I really would like to see more of it. John Carter.
Oh,
Did you ever
yeah.
watch John Carter?
I heard it wasn't very good.
No, it was good.
Was it?
Oh, we should watch it sometime. I actually have it in 3D to watch it sometime. But I love that movie, and I would have loved to see more. And it's a shame that it just, to me, it just didn't get hyped enough or something, because it was, to me, an excellent movie. I mean, the storyline was good. The action sequences were really well done.
What came out around that same time?
I
Did
don't know.
something overshadow it?
There was a bigger movie around that time. I think you're right, Adam. Something else came out,
Probably a Marvel movie.
but I really liked it. I thought it was really good.
Probably so.
What about you, Corey?
So mine isn't like a
My
full
Little
on.
Pony.
Yep, you got me.
It's the Care Bears. I'm going to use my Care Bears there.
That's why my gamer tag is Seabear, actually.
Because of Care Bears?
No, someone gave me that nickname in high school, but
It was his mom.
Did you do the Care Bears there? Got in trouble.
I don't know. This is devolving really quickly.
Yeah.
He's out of control. He's out of control.
So this isn't a franchise, but my favorite, without talking about Star Wars, my favorite, and Marvel. I love Marvel too.
Yeah.
My favorite universe right now is from Ready Player One.
Oh, okay. That's a good
And
one.
I've mentioned it in the movie before, but I
It's
think
like your favorite movie, right?
it's up there. Like it's not one of those ones that's like by critics would be like, oh, this is one of the best movies, but it just like it just hit home really well.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is everything in the movie is so possible. Like we're just not there yet. So like we're already trying to do the like VR video game thing, and like it's just so much more advanced in their time, and just being able to like essentially transform into any video game hero that you've ever seen in this universe. It's just like so cool. And just
For
like
sure. I love that movie.
especially those scenes when like he's even at the beginning of the movie when he first goes into the Oasis and you see all the different characters just walking to different areas, and you see you see everything.
It's packed full of stuff.
The one thing I would say that I didn't get was, some of the way they showed you doing VR was actually having a whole kit around you. Or like being in a station. And then you had these other imageries of people just being out on the road and out on the sidewalk wearing headsets. I just didn't understand
I think in the movie that because there were commercials in the movie of like upgrades. Like the like base thing you needed was the like VR headset, and you could do everything you wanted to in that. But for like added like levels of
so you could be more flexible.
Immersion, you could have like the treadmill or the like gloves or the vest.
Just thought it's really probably legally wrong to let let people on the sidewalks near a road wear a headset and play VR.
And then also, like, I can see where you say that, because also, like, that company that was trying to get a hold of everything, like, if you notice, they were in, like, big chairs.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't even, like, running or anything. But
that's how
just
I want to be.
But the premise of, like, when he got his initial upgrades and he had like the suit and the cool like 360 treadmill and like he was actually running to do the tasks and like everything. I thought that was so cool.
It's really cool. I just I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a great movie. I was just arguing about logistics in a movie that doesn't really matter.
I think it's just
Eric likes to do that.
I think just the idea of like the online universe itself is what got me. Cool. It's just like
no, I mean it's and you're right. We're not too far away from VR is a real thing. It's just how long would it take to catch on and how immersive. And that's another question I have in general about VR is, how immersive is it too immersive? Like, some people, like for me, I got a VR headset, but how many times do I actually want to put it on and get all that gear? And, and have to change the way my living room or family room is set up to use it. All those questions. It's easier sometimes just to go and pick up my controller and just play.
See, I feel like that as it kind of advances, I feel like it's going to come up with ways to make that a lot easier, to where you can just sit in a chair and have that full experience and not have to worry about setting everything up. I think it's
that's
really
where
cool
I haven't heard much about it, but Microsoft actually had it where augmented reality, where you're kind of just have like glasses, but what you're looking at, like this table would be a card table or something. So it'd be creating an image on a surface that you could see, but it wouldn't be it's not like you're wearing a headset, so you're partly in reality, but partly
kind of like with like
I like that more almost.
Pokemon Go and stuff like that. It kind of
but even like creating like you could even do like a game of paintball, because you could have a whole space created. And you have, obstacles behind you to protect you, or in front of you to protect you, not behind you. But anyhow, I like that.
Yeah.
I do like VR too. I'm not trying to. There's some really cool VR games that I've played, but it's hard for me to just be committed to always playing it, because I have to.
It's kind of a hassle.
For some of the games, I have to put my headset on, have to get these controllers, the two little controllers to kind of.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Well,
it does. It's like, I want to come home. I'm just going to put I just want to play a game, relax a little bit.
But then I think of things like Star Wars. So like, obviously moving on from that, but like in VR, like having an actual like a lightsaber battle with someone, and like all the people that like actually, because they're like competitive lightsaber leagues. Like that's like an official sport now.
No, there's actually in Star Wars Battlefront, there is a section where you can go in and play in X-wing and do dog fights with TIE fighters. So
careful, the experts here.
I know. We'll get shut down right away.
I'm grading you.
But anyhow, it's a cool experience. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of cool experiences that I find in VR. It's just, when does it get to the level like you're saying about Ready Player One, which I'm very excited they're coming out with a second movie. But I wonder how much longer it'll take to get us there to where we. And I kind of feel like it's going to be a mixture of things rather than just being, you're just going to have to wear a headset all the time.
See, like, I think we have all the technology needed for that, but I feel like it just hasn't gone to the point where like people can afford it, like mainstream.
I think the expense, like you said, would just be to actually put it all together and say, okay, this is a system you can buy.
See, I feel like it's going to take one company. I know
dollars.
Oculus is really doing good things to kind of make that big change where it becomes mainstream. Kind of like how
it's got to be less
Apple
cumbersome.
did with the computer and stuff like that.
It's got to get to the point where it's less cumbersome, easier to use. And just more immersive, I guess.
For sure.
The more of those things merge together to be.
Because something that really surprised me is that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 in their like new like trailers and stuff and all their press conferences, nothing was mentioned about VR with those, which kind of surprised me.
Well, they are working on a PS VR too, and the PSVR now will work with the PS5.
Because I was kind of expecting that to be the next big thing with next gen consoles
That is an interesting thing because now we're getting way off topic, but
it's all right.
I will say this about the Kinect too, because that was a kind of an interesting thing that was introduced with the even the iToy with PlayStation 2 had that. Where you could interact with the screens and Kinect was really good at doing a lot of things, and that was the Xbox vision originally was to make sure everybody had a Kinect, and then they because of the price of the PS4 they had to compete, so they had to get rid of that.
Yeah, because I think the Xbox
it is
one launched with that.
Yeah,
because I had one, but I never used it.
You had to have one.
Yeah,
it came with it, but they had to get rid of it to keep up with PS4. Yeah. But I guess what I'm sharing all that, it is interesting. Sometimes technology wants to go here, with certain products, but you have to. It's all about change, right?
Yeah.
It's the willingness of people being accepting of that change, because sometimes people can be resistant. Because actually, if you remember, Xbox was talking about just always being online. Your console was always online. Well, it pretty much is now.
Yeah.
but people were upset about that, and that was kind of the issue with sharing games and stuff. Because the way Xbox was going to do it was that you couldn't really share a game, that you just have it on your hard drive. So they worked it out a little bit, but it's interesting because we're getting cloud games now, which is it's cool, but the latency issue is going to be a thing, and then also data.
Yeah, for sure.
For people. I'll show
sure.
that now.
I'm just going to wait for the holodecks.
Yeah.
From Star Trek.
Yeah.
Get excited about
that
it.
Would be really. That's that augmented reality. That's where you're not wearing something.
Right.
You're just in an environment.
You just walk into the environment like, here it is.
That'd
be awesome.
And it's like Google Glass, where you had the glasses that you'd have a little screen. I mean, I'm excited for that stuff, but I think it's just too soon.
I don't think
for mass market.
I don't think the people are ready.
Yeah.
The technology's there, but we're not ready for it. Yeah.
So get ready, people. Get
ready. Get your glasses strapped on. All right, I think we have time to do this next one real quick. Okay. I'm excited for this one. This is a popular dating question, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, asking someone what they'd bring to a stranded
I
island.
only did it
but
once.
We're gonna.
I've only dated one person,
and you married her.
Well, it worked out.
Good job.
We dated for 3 months. Then I got hitched.
Well, you only dated for 3 months. Yeah. Dang, dude, you were.
Talk about a ring before spring.
Seriously.
I knew what I wanted to do, guys.
You knew what you wanted. You had a plan and you fulfilled
Eric moves fast. He moves
Eric's
fast.
quick. He's quick with the ladies. Well, the lady. All right, so we're going to talk about 3 books, and we can't talk about the Bible because we'd all pick it, but obviously we would all pick the Bible.
We pick
3 books beside the Bible.
I remember the college episode where nobody else talked about God.
Yeah.
I watched that episode
the
like
one
2 days
person
ago.
that's asking for advice.
But wait a second. Wouldn't I want to?
We were thinking too.
Have God
we were thinking too literal.
Yeah, we were. So 3 books
Not
beside the
spiritual.
Bible that we would take with us on a stranded island. I can go first.
Okay.
If you guys are
That's
alright
good
with
because I didn't really care about this topic.
that. You wrote it, dude. You wrote it.
I just knew that you, Doug, and Corey would probably like it. I'll share some.
Yeah. Okay. So mine,
Just
and
being honest.
I have good reasons for these. The first one that I would take is something that I would do just because I'd get bored, and it's good to keep mentally not bored on an abandoned island. I would get The Lord of the Rings, and The Lord of the Rings was originally written as 1 book. So, and they do sell a 3-in-1 copy of it. So I'd bring that and have all 3 books with me. Because you can read that for as long, you can read that over and over again, learn new stuff, just keep your mind busy. The second one I'd bring is a book that I haven't read all the way through, but read some of in like elementary school. It was Robinson Crusoe. Because it's entertaining and it's about a guy in your situation. You can relate to him. You can learn some tips from him. So yeah, I think that'd be a good one. And the last one is Christian Faith by Wayne Grudem, which is my Theology 1 and 2 textbook.
Really?
Yeah. And I want to pick this for multiple reasons. One is that it's a big book. There's a lot of info in there. Some I read. I didn't read all of it because just chapters were assigned. But a lot of good stuff about theology and stuff like that. The second is that it's a pretty big hardcover book. You could use it as a weapon. You can use that to
It is a big book.
defend yourself.
Hunt for food with
Hunt
it.
for food, hunt for anything.
Make
threaten
a
Rip out
things
a couple
with it.
pages, start a
I
fire.
nope,
Make
not
start
going
fire.
there. Actually, there's probably a pretty big glossary in it.
That's what I mean.
I could probably afford to take some of those pages.
You don't
out.
need that.
Or
You
like
don't
an
need that.
index.
Or eat. I guess you can eat paper if you're starving, but hopefully it's not to that point. And because in college, I remember there were many nights when I was studying for an exam, and the book's very dense. It's not the most entertaining thing to read, and it would just lull me to sleep. And that could be very useful on an island like that. If I couldn't sleep one night, just crack open Christian Faith by Wayne Grudem and just lull me to sleep while learning about God. So those are mine.
Okay.
Doug.
Well,
Let's
I
hear
would
it.
probably take the Silmarillion. Because
Okay.
It would take me about
Okay.
8 years to read through that
Yeah.
because it's. I tried actually.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
have it. I made it through like the first few chapters.
I mean, it's
and
not a huge book, right? But
No,
it's
but
just
it's
very
so-
dense. It's very
yeah.
dense. It's very Tolkien.
J.R.R. Tolkien is so
Yeah.
thorough.
Yeah.
Put it that way. So that would last me for a while.
For sure.
I would take The Holiness of God by R.C. Sproul
Okay.
because that's just such a powerful book.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
reality of God and His glory and holiness. That caused a major paradigm shift in my
Really?
life. Yeah.
That's cool. I'll take that up.
Gee, I don't know. And I read a lot too. That's the thing. Most of what I read is nonfiction stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
theology books and
Oh, no.
things
not
like
same.
that. So. Theology, Christian, education, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So, oh man, I don't know. Do I want something entertaining or do I want something?
Well, you've got the spiritual stuff down now, so you
Well, that's right. That's
have
right.
one entertainment
You have a
book.
Star Wars book you
I
really
actually
like?
do. I have several Star Wars books that I use for like references.
Yeah.
For this stuff. So
Yeah.
I'd probably take one of them.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them are like really big. So like you said, I could use it.
Yeah, use it as a weapon.
Head with it,
So
or
is there a
Eat some
particular-
pages.
I know there's multiple Star Wars books, so is there a particular series of books that you would recommend, or I'm just
no.
curious.
Well, because I never got into the fiction. I always got into the nonfiction. So like the movie, the
Okay,
background
yeah.
stuff,
Oh,
the
I see.
making of all
Gotcha.
that stuff.
So
Those are the
you
books that
never
I
read
have.
any of the fictional books?
No. I know some things just because of the things I've read online
Yeah.
and everything. I do have one book that was given to me when I was in college that's like Tales from the Cantina or something like
Okay.
that.
That's cool.
And I think I had maybe a couple comic books over the years.
All right.
But
They're definitely really cool to get into, some of those other books, because there are a lot of like fictional like off branches of Star Wars where it's like they get into like different aspects of the Force and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because there's like we see like Jedi and Sith.
Yeah,
But there's
the
also
combat.
a lot of
like,
and you do see
medicine and-
there's medicine, which you do see some of.
There's music too.
And especially like is it I'm trying to think, or like when Rey heals the serpent or whatever. Like you see like minor aspects of that in the movies, but there's like so many different aspects of the Force that they touch on, which is cool.
Corey, what are your 3 books you take?
Okay, so the first one's the Book of Mormon.
He can't bring the Bible, so
I'm just
bring
kidding. Just kidding.
just for research purposes.
Just for research purposes only.
That's a false
So
false doctor.
the first one is just a book I read not too long ago, but I really enjoyed that. I just think it's really interesting because, like, we didn't live it, so I'm really interested in like how everything went about in like the World Wars and like Nazi Germany and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I mean, we weren't alive, but it was so not that long ago.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
and there's just so much detail.
Well, you think about like World War II. How many of the books that like Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia, came out from those difficult times and period? Go ahead. Sorry, I just think of that's interesting.
No, it's super interesting. So I read a book not too long ago called The Tattooist of Auschwitz, which is nonfiction, or which is fiction, but it's like realistic fiction, and it's basically based on this guy that like is a Jew, gets taken to Auschwitz, and like he gets super lucky because he gets really sick and he almost dies, and the tattooist is like another Jew, but they trained them and made them like tattoo all the numbers on people, like on all the Jews as they came in.
Yeah.
Well, that guy saw that he was going to die and like basically like took him under his wing to train him, and they got like extra things. So they had like kind of like perks for their position. But it's just really interesting because you see like he talks about what everyone else's like jobs are like and what they do, but he's like sneaking stuff through so they can escape.
Wow.
And it's just
That's
really cool. So that was one book I thought of. Another book that I just randomly thought of that I thought would be really cool. I used to have this giant book from Skyrim. It was huge. And it was like the full guide. And it had the full language translation of the dragons.
Wow.
So
learn a
I would
language?
learn a new language.
I have one.
Someone would
have
come
that
rescue
too?
you. And
Yeah, I would speak dragon. But it was like, it almost had like the full playthrough of the game too.
Oh, cool.
So like you could like
in your mind
you could
play it.
literally like in
you
my
could
mind
draw
I
it
could be,
out as a map on the island.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, that's literally. I'm thinking like I could like be playing the game in my mind and like remembering and like it tells you all the backstories on like characters and stuff too.
Yeah.
And it's like a huge book. It takes up a lot of time. You could read
Probably
it.
used as a weapon. Was it hardcover?
Yeah, it was hardcover.
There you go.
I mean, I honestly think it was like 2 to 3 inches
See,
thick.
I had the soft cover version of that book, and I let your neighbor borrow it. Never got it back. I think he still has
I
it.
actually might have it because he gave me one of his too, and I might have your book.
Yo.
For real, I'd have to look.
Yo.
But he let me borrow it one time too.
Yeah.
And part of the cover was ripped off, so that was him.
That was mine.
did
That was
it?
mine because I remember I went to his house one time and saw it and the cover was ripped off, and I was like, I don't even want it back. But you have it now.
Well, it's not all the way ripped off.
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
just like a corner.
He
or something.
ruined it for me.
Yeah, but I think I
Wow,
have
Corey
it
has
somewhere.
it now.
But so that was probably number 2, and then third, I would probably bring something. I definitely want something theological too to like go deeper with that. I was actually thinking some of my. I read a different book for my theology class, and that was a good thing Brian brought up. I can't remember what the title is right now, but
Was it by Grudem?
it was not by Grudem. And the reason is I had one of the only theology professors at Cedarville that was like, most of them were mainly theology department, but the person that taught my class was actually used to be the head of the philosophy department.
Okay.
And he was
Was
like
it Gilhooly?
also, yeah, it was Gilhooly.
Okay.
And he is like, his whole style of teaching was, okay, I know you guys believe this, but I'm going to be the devil's advocate, and I'm
we've
going to
talked about this on
argue.
here, yeah.
I'm going to argue with you the opposite because I want you to be able to argue with like reason what you believe, and I'm going to like pick your brain and make you. And I can't remember which. I can't remember what the name of the book is, but it
You'd
just
bring that book.
I would bring that book because it from the beginning, like it started. We actually started in a different order. We started in the New Testament, and the first thing it did was like we went through the book of Matthew, and it was like it laid Matthew out like an argument instead of it was like, okay, Matthew is actually super intelligent and he is arguing this. It's not just like he's telling the story. He actually wrote his book as an argument of why Jesus is who he is.
Yeah.
So then it's like you look at the genealogy and everyone's like, he was like, most people skip genealogies. But it's like it lays it out. It's like, okay, so this is how he's related clear back to Abraham and fulfills the promise of Abraham. And then like you get past the genealogy and it's like, okay, Jesus did this, and in Isaiah he prophesied that someone would do this. And then like back in it's like a laid out step-by-step argument of how Jesus fulfilled the prophecies of the Old Testament.
Yep.
And that whole textbook for New Testament was like that.
That's cool.
And so it's just really interesting, and like every time I look at it, I like learn new things from it. So I think I would bring that.
Who are you, Eric? Did you go?
No, I haven't, but
Lay it on us.
okay. Mere Christianity.
Yeah.
C.S.
That's
Lewis.
Yep.
I
almost said that
It's
one.
been a while since I've read it, so I think it'd be cool to take it with me now, and read it again. I would say survival book, which I'm surprised nobody else said anything.
I thought about that.
Yeah, I said
Bear
Robinson
Grylls.
Crusoe.
I'm
Bear Grylls,
surprised.
yeah.
SAS Survival Handbook.
Haven't read it, but you're just going to trust.
Yeah,
You're just
I'm
going to trust
gonna
it. Yep.
It's recommended on Amazon, so I thought, well, number one bestseller. Can't be wrong. At least I have one.
Yeah.
Then I would say Quiet Leadership is another interesting book. So my books are all leadership. Why? I'm quiet on an island, right?
Who are you leading on the island?
Adam is going
Leading myself, Adam.
Eric is going to
Leading
make.
myself.
He
okay?
has a volleyball.
I have a volleyball named Wilson. And I'm going to train that Wilson. He's going to be one of the smartest leaders ever.
See, I can imagine Eric forming an army of sand crabs
Yes.
and baptizing them like he did in the
Saving-
bathtub
Or
when
like
he was younger.
birds,
Looking
like
for the starfish.
he trains the birds and they like fly in
He
formation.
just
and
becomes the
stuff.
master of all the
See that
animals
V shape? I
because of
helped
his
that.
quiet leadership.
He's sitting down counseling somebody because
He just
I'm
practicing.
just talking to the turtle, seeing why he's depressed. That's all.
Someone comes to save Eric, but Eric uses leadership to get him to stay on the island with him. He's like, I don't want to be saved.
And it's quiet leadership, so I don't even have to talk.
He just gives him a look.
Yeah.
He gives him
that Care Bear stare.
Yeah, the Care Bear stare.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Just in case I
That's
ever
good.
meet anybody, I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, we're ready to go. That's good, Eric. That's good. So now we're going to continue our Romans. The last 3 episodes, we've been working through Romans.
We're on the road.
So now what are we doing, 11 through 13? Or 10 through?
10
11
through
through
13.
11 through 13?
I think he's doing 10 too.
No. Oh, is he?
I think so.
You're
I'm
not
doing
on.
the first part,
We're on
10.
10.
Yep.
10
So
through
10
13.
through 13.
10, 1 through 4.
Let's
Nobody did 10 last
get
time.
it. All right, so you have 10. I have 12. What do you have, Eric?
I have 11.
I have
think.
13.
All right, so
10,
let's
11,
start
13.
with Doug, and then
Okay, so I'm just going to read the first 4 verses.
Oh,
It says, brothers, my heart's desire and prayer to God is for them is that they may be saved. For I bear them witness that they have zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. For being ignorant of the righteousness of God, in seeking to establish their own, they did not submit to God's righteousness. For Christ is the end of the law, for righteousness to everyone who believes.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul, of course, he's talking about his fellow Israelites. He's talking about his fellow Jews that, and I see this a lot today, where people have a zeal for religion,
yeah,
or a zeal for God, which is kind of a God of their own imagination, but they don't really know God.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it breaks your heart to see, does this person even really desire God?
Yeah.
And so I think we all want to echo Paul's heart there of lostness. And I've found it to be true, and I've heard it said, one of the hardest places to witness is in the Bible Belt.
yeah, for sure.
Because everyone just assumes they're a Christian because,
Yeah.
I went to church when I was 5 and, or my grandma's a Christian, so I'm a Christian too. They
Yeah.
just assume that they're born into it, not born again, but just, physically
Yeah,
born.
uh-huh.
And it can be a challenge
For
to
sure,
say,
yeah.
well, and then you start kind of digging in and say, well, what do you really believe? And,
Yeah.
and it quickly becomes apparent they don't know the Lord.
Yeah, exactly.
And so,
That's a good point.
we and I think sometimes we can forget, and be so consumed with other things that we forget there's a lot of lost people out there.
For
So,
sure.
Well, that should be in the foremost of our minds, right? Or did I say that right?
Foremost, yeah.
Forefront.
Yeah. So,
Fortnite?
not Fortnite.
Forefront.
It should be on the
yeah.
forefront of our minds is that there are people that are lost.
Exactly.
But you're right. I think living in a Bible Belt area, we kind of think that,
Yeah.
everybody's Christians, when
Yeah.
there's so many people that
Yeah.
don't know much about Christ
Yeah.
or have misconceived ideas about
Exactly.
who God is.
Right.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, and then those people can be some of the hardest to reach just because they've grown up their whole lives thinking a certain way that's not true.
Yeah.
They think that they're born into being a Christian, and they're so used to thinking that way that it's hard to kind of break that barrier. And
Well, it reminded me, I remember Doug talking about this a few years back about how, there are so many people that think they're Christians but have never really put their faith and trust in Christ.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
just been, I go to church.
Yeah.
I've been at church all my life, and that's not, just because you go to church doesn't mean you have a relationship with Christ.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
As the
absolutely.
old adage goes, sitting in church doesn't make you a Christian any more than sitting in a garage makes you a car.
Exactly.
Just because you're sitting in church does not mean you're
I like
saved.
that. I like that, Doug.
Boom, roasted.
Man, I
Boom roasted.
just ruined my whole philosophy. I was sitting in the garage for days.
I got some oil spots on me. That's about it.
Oh, man. All right, Eric, you had 11, right?
I had 12, actually, but
Okay.
it's my bad.
I have the end of
I
12.
have 2.
Okay.
Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that maybe by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. And so, this separation that needs to happen inside of us, that we need to be transformed. This is not my home. This is not the place I want to stay. Again, on this podcast, we talk about so many things we like and enjoy, but what level does this rise to everything else in my life? Christ has to be first. God has to be first. And there's things to enjoy in this life, but I'm not sticking around here. I'm not putting all my attention on building things here just for my satisfaction. We should want to make a difference in this life, to change lives, to help people. It goes back to leadership. It goes back to, talking to people that aren't saved and
Yeah.
letting them know about the true joy they can find in Christ, because, this world is going to try to change our perceptions. And this goes back to what we believe can't be based on what world says, because the world can even dissect the scripture and take it out of context.
Yeah.
We have to look at what God's word really truly says. And sometimes, we try to select, you'll see certain people select certain scriptures to say what they want. Well, what does the overall text say?
Right.
What was the context of that text? Why was that put there? You can't just pick and choose how you want it to be. You got to look at it overall and say, what was the real message behind this? And whether it's dealing with some of the hot topics of this day and age,
Yeah.
or even some of the things that we've talked about, before, that we need to look at what God's word says. And so separating what the world says and saying, okay, this is what the world says. What does God truly say?
For sure.
Am I getting enough of God's word to really make sure my mind is being transformed to be more godly?
Absolutely. Yeah, I had 12:19 through 21. It says, Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God, for it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink, for by doing so, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
Yeah.
I think that last line especially is a really, really good reminder. Just because I feel like there's a ton of anger going on right now in the world, obviously, with all the different things just going on with politics and this newest thing that's going on with the new debate really is firing people up, and a lot of people are just getting mad at each other. And I mean, no matter what side you're on, it's just good to realize you shouldn't be overcome by that anger. Like it's not your job to put the wrath of God on people. I mean, people are going to be served the way that they deserve to be served, and in the meantime, we just need to just love each other, because God's going to take care of that. Well,
the bigger idea too, I think, is that we're called to care for people,
exactly,
and love them.
Mm-hmm.
And even I go back to Jesus and just thinking about him, that even though he was hated, even though he was treated poorly, he still had such a great love for the people.
Absolutely, yeah.
And,
that is the main takeaway.
There's a lot of, it goes back to Ephesians chapter 12. We don't wrestle. Is that 12? Yeah, 12:6, right? Or 6:12. 6:12. So, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against principalities and powers,
For sure.
Spiritual warfare. So, that's the bigger play.
Yeah.
That's the bigger thing. So my beef with this person or that person is usually not the real thing that I'm fighting against.
Yeah.
It's spiritual warfare.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love the fact, too, you think about it, in a lot of ways, he's saying, hey, the worst treatment you can give them is be nice.
Exactly.
To them.
Yeah.
If you really want to irritate him,
Yeah.
think about that.
When I was growing up, my mom always said, "Kill him with kindness."
Exactly.
That's how my mom
Yeah,
said
that's
it.
what
She
he's
was
saying
like,
here.
nothing makes them more mad.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever put that to the test? It
works.
really does work. It really makes them upset. So if you really want to irritate him,
It's the Care Bear stare.
It is.
That's the secret word of the day. Secret phrase of the day.
Care Bear stare.
Just as long as we don't all start pulling our shirts up. There.
Yeah.
We don't need to see that.
Yeah, not doing that. All right, Corey, want to take us home?
All right, yeah. So
We're going home.
we're going home.
We're going home.
All right. So I'm doing Romans 13, 8 through 10, and it says, "Owe no one anything except to love each other, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. For the commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are summed up in this word. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does not do wrong to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law." And I just think that's cool because, especially when I think about describing this to like a new Christian too. Like, it's easy, like, you need to know the 10 Commandments, you need to know, kind of get a guard for what sin is, but if you love people the way God loves people, you're not going to commit those sins against them. So it's kind of just like a nice summary that, like, Jesus is saying, if you love people this way, like the way I love you, you're not going to sin against them.
Yeah.
So it kind of fulfills the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And I know it's simple in theory, but it's just it's amazing, because you think about the 10 Commandments. The first 4 deal with how we treat God. The other 6 how we treat each other.
Yep.
And I really like that because it kind of simplifies it in my mind to think about that is so important when Jesus says to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul is the first greatest commandment. And the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. So, really caring for people is what we're there for.
Exactly.
We're hoping to win souls. We're hoping to make a difference in this life. It goes back to my starfish story.
Absolutely. I'm still down to drive to the beach.
Well, so if I see another article that says something about starfish, we're going. We're just dropping everything. We're going. Quit my job.
I'm good with that.
But we're going to take the podcast with us.
Yeah, we're going to podcast the whole way.
We're going to interview the starfish. Eric uses his quiet
You just
leadership
gotta be careful,
skills.
I'm gonna bring my balloon slingshot to launch him into the water.
Yeah. Actually, I think Eric would do good on an island with all the starfish.
True.
He'd be at home.
He'd save all of them, but not be able to save himself.
Yep.
And I'd baptize
I can
little
save
turtles.
this one. Baptize the turtles.
How do you baptize something that lives in the ocean?
True.
Take them out of the
That's
water.
a moral
And
dilemma.
then put them back in.
Okay.
But the dolphin is really hard.
They're slippery.
The whale, I'm not even going to go there.
All right.
Sharks, they're not savable.
All right. I think we should end the podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We appreciate you all.
We love you guys.
300 likes on the page. That's awesome. We've grown up. We are now an old. We are experienced, kind of.
So we gauge our age on likes.
Yeah. Yep. 300 likes.
It's like
old.
experience points.
Yeah.
in the game, right?
It's our XP. We're 300 XP. Next big goal is 500. I think we can do it.
Now,
so
are we more
share
trophies or are we more achievement points off?
trophies.
Trophies.
We're PlayStation guys. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Peace.
Peace. See you guys.
Good episode. And none of the figures fell.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
amazing.
no, it did. Squid.